Hello and welcome back to our final episode this season of Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host, Collin Sheffield. Alongside me, as always, Coach Russell. Coach Russell, your first season comes to an end. We'll kind of wrap up the season here in a second, but let's kind of put a bow on Georgetown. It was your first time going to Georgetown as a player, as a coach. What was it like? We were talking about how there was all sorts of tailgating. Of course, they're kind of competing with Kentucky, just really 20 minutes or so outside of that. But it was still a pretty good crowd. Campbellsville showed up in really good numbers over there on the far side. And it was overall a pretty good atmosphere.
Yeah, shout out to our parents and fans. They've done a great job all year traveling. I mean, every single away game we've had a real presence, and it's something that not all the teams are able to do, and I think that makes a big difference for us just to give us energy. The crowd's always right behind our sideline and our players during the game, so you can even feel the momentum in that. But yeah, it was a really good environment. I mean, obviously Georgetown's got a lot of prestige, a lot of tradition. It's somewhere I grew up about 40 minutes from when they were winning national championships in the early 2000s. And it's just a program that people around the state, people in NAIA football know is a really good one. And Coach Oliver's got them, back where they want to be, ranked really high in the playoffs, all those things.
So we'll take a look at some of the big players in this game. The Tigers lost 35-7 to the number 6 team in the nation. Jagger Gillis threw for 211 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 3 picks. Jackson McClendon had the big touchdown catch there, 2 catches, 11 yards, and Ellis Reed once again coming up with a big 12 tackles. We'll talk to him here in a little bit. But Jackson McClendon, the Tigers were rolling in that first offensive set. Putting together great drives against a great defense. And Jackson McClendon, we were talking upstairs. We thought that, usually you kind of continue out on that. And I felt like Gillis thought the same thing as well. But he was so open. It was like he kind of settled down. It was like, please just get me the ball. And you're able to come up with it. And you get out to a 7-0 lead. What's that feel like over there on the sideline when you see your offense put together such a great drive off of the start?
Yeah, shout out to Jackson. He was a defensive end last year who transitioned over in the spring, our only tight end in the spring. And he's done a great job. Obviously Jack being out this week, Jack's just a phenomenal guy. He's going to be an all-conference type guy for us for many years here. But Jackson stepping right in. Very funny play, as you mentioned, where he kind of stopped for whatever reason. Made the throw a lot tougher, made the catch a lot tougher. I don't know, maybe he just wanted to show off and make the one-handed snag, but really cool for him. First 2 drives, exactly what we would have wanted before the game started. A great drive that takes up, a good amount of the clock. You go straight, you get the stop first off, go straight down and score, and that just kind of, calms the nerves or proves to everybody that didn't believe it, which I think our guys did anyway, that's like, okay, we can compete and we can really win this game. You do the exact same thing on the second drive to respond to their score, and you get to a 4th down, you get a big conversion, and then, Dre's knee was probably a centimeter off the ground. It's probably a play that it's definitely a play that if it gets called down, it would have stood. If it was a fumble, it would have stood. So, really just an unfortunate break more than anything. Again, just, one of those things that just became kind of a play for us in the last, several games, last half of the year maybe, with the turnovers. Some of those definitely, unforced, but then a play like that where Dre's fighting for yards, again, his knee's so close to the ground, on it or not, and just ends up fumbling the ball. And, that was a momentum thing, and then obviously we're even moving the ball the next drive, and Jagger just throws an interception, which everything we're asking him to do, what an unbelievable year he had. So much pressure on him to almost play perfect at times for us to win against these really good teams. I threw a lot on his shoulder as a quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator, and that's because he can do it. He showed that this year. He's an all-conference guy this year. Just a great season. But, yeah, it was one of those games, as we mentioned in the past, where we probably just had to play near perfect in all 3 phases. And while we played really good at times, that to me was the best team we've played all year, top to bottom, just solid, man. 29 seniors. No holes at all in any of the 3 phases of the game. I think that's a team that's going to make a deep playoff run.
And even on special teams, too, we were talking about it, that first punt, almost I thought it might have been shanked off of his foot. And I even mentioned, I'm not sure if that was a shank or supposed to happen. And then each one after that, it was those low-line drives that almost are really hitting the back of your offensive line, but he's just getting it around. and one, unfortunately, at a good point in the game, just clips the back heel of your blocker downfield, and they are able to fall on it for another one. So just some unfortunate breaks, and a great game plan. I've never seen a game plan like that to just cause havoc on the punt, and I thought that was just so ingenious.
It was. Coach Oliver and his staff obviously, do a great job. A lot of those same guys that were on the national championship team at Lindsay in 2020. And that's something they practice. I remember somebody on the sideline saying the same thing, like, man, we just can't catch a break. And I kind of responded to it and said, but that's something they practice. They're intentionally doing, a rollout rugby-style punt, low-line drives to possibly create that situation. And those are things as you build a program, as we get into off-season now, we're so excited to, get a full year under our belt, right? A season really is January 1 to, hopefully December, where we make the national championship game. And this year we didn't get that full year. And it's just some of those small things against these better programs that, are into several years into their staff and building what they're doing that really just showed themselves a little bit. Our guys were playing with just not as much time as everybody else, and they did just a phenomenal job, proving we can play with anybody in the country.
And give credit to the defense as well. They held a very powerful offense. They rushed for almost 200 yards. They were really getting it done on the ground. Two big backs in terms of Darius Neal, Isaiah Cobb, those guys just having phenomenal seasons. And they did a great job pushing up front there in those early drives and early downs and really forcing them almost to beat you with the arm. Did a couple times, but usually that's not really where they lived. It was on the ground. They did a great job of pushing up front.
No doubt. That's Coach Ford and his staff all year have done a great job of kind of making the opposing offense play left-handed in a sense. Other than Bethel, their quarterback is left-handed, so right-handed for him. But just done a great job kind of making their offenses uncomfortable. We've seen that in every game. I mean, I think Darius Neal, their running back, to me should be the conference offensive player of the year. I mean, 17 touchdowns. He really carried them at times. That running game carried them at times. And their quarterback probably played one of his better games. He's peaking at the right moment. Like I said, they're going into the playoffs probably playing just as good, if not better, than anybody in the country. I'm excited. Once your season's over, you start to root for the teams in your conference, right? So we're Georgetown and Bethel fans now. Both of those teams are plenty good enough to make a playoff run. And, again, that's just one of the pros of playing this conference is you get to go up against these top programs in the nation, kind of measure yourself. And again, we come out of this year saying, why can we not be the best program in the nation? These are teams that we look forward to competing with, beating and kind of surpassing in the years to come. And, to be the best, you got to end up beating the best. And our guys are very motivated to do that.
Well, we'll let you out of the hot seat real quick, Coach. When we come back, we're going to sit down with an all-conference defensive player in Ellis Reed here on Under Center with Jake Russell.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Welcome back to Under Center with Jake Russell. Beside me now, I have defensive Tiger Ellis Reed. Ellis, you're one of those guys that if they watch the games, if they listen to it on radio, they hear your name so much. So it's nice to kind of put a face to the name here for our audience. You came to Campbellsville. What's it been like what made you choose Campbellsville first?
Well, the great coaches that had left the last program I was at made me really think about, do I want to be here again or should I try something else new? And then ever since, it's just been a blessing being at Campbellsville.
So you come over with Coach Russell, and how does that conversation happen? You decide, I really need to come here with Coach Russell and with the staff he's putting together. How does that conversation go down?
Yes, sir. Well, Coach Russell had announced that he was coming to Campbellsville, and we all were happy for him. And just during the summer, I had reached out to him, was like, hey, Coach, remember me? A little bit. But he said, we talked a few things out. I talked to the linebacker coach, Coach Atwood, and we got some things to happen.
What's it been like playing for, guys like Coach Ford as defensive coordinator, and then guys like Coach Owens, who has so much experience. He's played at such a high level before. What's it like playing with those guys?
Amazing. It's just so much respect you have for those guys, so you just want to soak in all the knowledge they have. And Coach Ford, the defense he calls, man, you got to write it down so many times to memorize it and learn it and run it right.
I was going to ask, what's the adjustment like when you're trying to learn, a new defense and having to, really buckle down? What's that like trying to get through a new defense, a new scheme, and putting that all together on the field?
It's difficult. It's difficult, but everybody has a way of learning. Mine's is just writing over and over and then walking through it with my teammates and teaching other people younger than me.
So, and that's something too, you lost Jacoby Miguel early on, and that was a big leader on this team beforehand, and now, you kind of stepped into that role there quickly and became a force there on defense. What's it been like kind of stepping in to a leadership role? Is that something that you expected coming into the season?
Not absolutely. I didn't expect it. Coming from KCU, I was a freshman last year, and I was trying to lead, but I was trying to see how the program was ran so I could know how to lead them. And coming here, I felt like I was just kind of thrown in the fire, which is the best way to learn. So, very grateful.
So you come over from KCU to the Mid-South Conference. What's it been like playing in the Mid-South Conference? Because we always talk about how good this conference is, and even from top to bottom, really, but also, those top guys, you just get done playing number 6 Georgetown, and you got done playing a top 10 team in Bethel, Lindsey Wilson. What is playing in the Mid-South Conference like?
It's tougher than the last conference I was in, because I remember my last linebacker coach told me, Ellis, you're going to have to step up everything you do when you come over here. Like, your whole game's going to have to elevate. And he was right.
They talk about the speed of the game. How does it speed up for a defensive player?
You can see the difference in the backs and how the whole team is communicating and united that you're going against. It's just a different ball game.
Guys like Darius Neal, who, he's having such a phenomenal season, but you guys are doing such a good job early on of stopping. What's it like knowing that you're going up against, guys like that who are arguably, one of your offensive players of the year possibly for the conference, and then having to push through that? How do you go about making that game plan and just kind of assuring your guys, this is what we've got him, and we know his number?
Yes, sir. It's absolutely a challenge that we always look forward to, because Coach Ford, his favorite thing to teach us is adversity, and we love going through it. So no matter if it's a All-American or a regular back, we take it to him.
So these, you get through the season and you had, a little bit of a rough start, and then you start going on that 4-game win streak. What was it like during that 4-game win streak? You come over from a program that had, I think 2 or 3 wins on the season, and you start hitting this big stride of a 4-game win streak. What did that feel like? What did that feel like in the locker room with these guys who had also struggled as well?
It felt great. It felt like we were growing as a team and becoming stronger. and it just felt like we hadn't fought no adversity in a long time, that stretch of wins.
How difficult was it transferring into a new program? Of course, you know, you have some of your older coaches as well from KCU. You have some of your old teammates from KCU as well, but you kind of transfer into a program that wasn't yours to begin with. There were some established guys there, and there were some freshmen coming in. What's it like when, you know, the team is kind of split into thirds and you're trying to come together in such a short time?
It's tough because everybody's coming fighting for a new spot, trying to compete, because, you know, that's the word.
Yeah.
We love to compete. I mean, you just got to soak it all in and just keep going where your feet at, step by step.
What were some of the hardest parts this season of trying to, you know, get together and come together? What was some of the hardest points in this season? What were the biggest challenges for you guys?
Just everybody being on the same page, everybody respecting each other, because everybody doesn't know each other. You got to know how you talk to certain people, how to get certain people to listen to you. So I think that's been the hardest.
What were some of the easiest parts of this season? You know, you have such great coaches as well. You have great teammates. What were some of the easiest parts of the season?
The easiest parts of the season, I'll say the game plan. We just had to go out there and execute. Sometimes we didn't execute as good as we wanted to, but the game plan was there on both sides.
When you're sitting there in the film room and you're going back through some of this stuff, if you had to look at yourself kind of critically, what would be some of the things that you would like to improve on moving forward into next season?
I missed too many tackles this season. That's what I pride myself on, not missing tackles, and we got to cause turnovers.
Cause more turnovers, okay. So when you get into that space as well, what were some of the things that you thought you did well? Because it's not all bad, obviously. I mean, you have several NCC Player of the Weeks. You're probably looking at an all-conference berth as well. What were some of the things you thought you did best?
Just reading my guards and playing key to the man beside me, just getting that strong bond so we could play as a unit.
So now you head into the off season. What are some of the things you're going to focus on and you'd like to see the team focus on as well headed into this off season?
Just getting bigger, stronger, and faster and more disciplined. Because discipline is where we lost a lot of games at this year. Some teams were just more united than we were.
Well, congratulations on your season, Ellis. You had a great season, phenomenal one, and I can't wait to see you again next year.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
When we come back, we'll talk about the season wrap-up with Coach Russell here on Under Center with Jake Russell.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When I got the opportunity to get her, there wasn't no choice. I told myself, I'm gonna take custody of my daughter. It's my baby. That's what we're supposed to do as men. Take care of our home, build a foundation, you know what I'm saying? Love, our money, she's my purpose. I'm here to walk with her, hold her hand until she can walk alone. Ain't nothing like being a father in this world.
Welcome back to Under Center with Jake Russell. I'm your host, Collin Sheffield. Back beside me once more is Coach Jake Russell. Coach, first season, it's over. You 4-6. You were 2-4 in the Mid-South Conference. A tough slate of games there towards the end. Had a big 4-0 win streak there in the middle, and then you just kind of run into a couple buzzsaws, but competed well with them for the most part. You know, just some turnovers and a little bit of unforced errors at times. Just a wrap up on your first season. What was it like coming back here to be the head coach of Tiger football, a program that you led as a quarterback, as a player at one point, now as a head coach, first season over with? What's it been like?
Just super encouraging, exciting, starting these exit meetings with all of our players this week, already the ones I've had, just seeing how motivated the guys are, hearing their positive reviews. You know, as a head coach, anytime you don't get exactly where you want to go, you start to think about, you know, things you could have done better, things you could have done more, decisions you made that could have possibly impacted the game. You can at times almost convince yourself that we could have won this game if you did something different, which in reality is usually not the case. But this was an awesome first year, just kind of getting in this seat and feeling the support of the Fighting Tiger, you know, fans, nation, alumni, the university, the administration. I mean, this is a place that we can build the best football program in the nation, and also the most unique football program in the nation. You know, being sold out to impact young men, using the platform we have, you know, to use those young men to impact the campus community, all these things. We've got a great foundation set. To me, this year was all about, you know, creating a foundation to do exactly what I just mentioned. I think I said on the show last week, and I've told a few people as the season's winded down, it would have almost been easier if we were bad this year, or if we were just getting beat because, you know, it's just year one and we don't quite, you know, have the talent. We're not quite ready to compete with those really good teams, but we were. And that's what made it, you know, just like where we were so close in a few games and not that far away again in any game to being right there to have a chance to win the game. You know, and we felt that as a staff. I know our fans felt it, our players felt it, and we just couldn't quite get over that hump. But man, this is an amazing year. Did a lot of things for the first time since some of those really good, you know, teams in 2017, 2015. You know, I think the sky's the limit in this program. I haven't found anything yet in my 8 months here that I look at and say that's, you know, the reason we can't be the best program in the nation. And I found a lot of things that support, you know, us being able to do that. So it's going to take a lot of hard work. You know, I'm excited for our guys to have some time off. I'm excited for our staff to have some time off. You know, but I'm also super pumped and excited to get our guys back in the spring, get to work, and really start to build towards something special next year.
So this is one of your first full off seasons as a head coach now. You'll get to kind of build it from start to finish for this year. What does that planning look like for you moving forward, going out, perhaps, you know, targeting certain people? Are you going into the transfer portal, looking for some impact players off the start? What does that look like?
The offseason is everything, and that's something that really showed over the course of this season. It's things that you develop and culture you create, and just little things you work on in February, March, April, May that make a huge difference in October or November, whenever it is. And that's something we just didn't get, right? Our staff came in right as spring ball was starting. Our whole staff actually didn't do a spring practice together. We actually finalized the staff really right before fall camp with Coach Lewis. And so that's what's so exciting about us as staff. It's like, okay, now we're playing a fair game. Now we've got a full deck of cards. Yeah, obviously recruiting becomes, you know, one of the focal points, one of the main objectives for the staff. One, getting a huge, you know, very talented, great freshman class. This is our first full class together. It's going great. We're just doing a really good job around the state. We're doing a great job in our out-of-state areas. We've already got some commitments, some known, some unknown. All those things will start to really take place over, you know, December, January, February, when a lot of guys are signing. We're super excited about that. You look at a school like Georgetown Saturday, who had 29 seniors. To do that, this will be our first class. Hopefully out of this class this year, we've got 20 plus seniors that go through this program in 4 or 5 years. If we can get to that point, we will be one of, if not the best teams in the nation. Transfer-wise, obviously it's a reality of college football. We are definitely looking to add pieces for sure, but one of the great things about where we're at right now is our retention will be very good. We've got a lot of guys bought in that want to be here. Our staff, is bought in. Our guys want to be here because of staff, because they're teammates, because the university does a great job, top to bottom, even outside of football. So we don't have that pressure of going out and signing 100 guys, right? We're going to be able to be very selective, picky, look for exactly the perfect fit. Yes, as a football player, but also, each guy we enter into or add into our program, has to really fit the culture, be motivated for the same goals that we are, and that's what's so exciting, and I just think that can be different about Campbellsville than a lot of other places.
What does an off-season program look like for your players that are returning and maybe some that are coming in? Do you tell these guys, kind of what you want them to do? Do you leave that up to them? How does that go? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so we'll send a workout plan home over the break. They'll have about 6 weeks off there for Christmas break, and that's just a great time for them to get home. So a lot of these guys haven't been home since August 1st, since fall camp started. And a big part of building the best program is our guys taking that serious, coaches checking up with them. And then once they get back, the first 10 weeks will basically be spent, getting bigger, faster, stronger. We'll start to do some position meetings. We'll get out on the field and do what we call skill development. It's just, working on the basic fundamentals, starting to really prep them for practice. After that 10 weeks, hopefully all the guys are just changed physically, ready to go out and have a great spring practice. That'll be 5 weeks worth, 3 times a week. We get 15 days on the field, and that's when you really develop those things. You get to get an identity of your team that you're going to have the next fall. And then we will have our spring game at the end, which is just a great, really celebration of our guys more than anything. Good thing about spring games, we joked after last year's that we're going to win it, guarantee that. It's also a great recruiting event for us to get a jump start on even the next year and get any, guys we're still looking to add in the boat at that point. But, the off season is everything. That's when, you win championships and all those things. Once fall camp rolls around, it's so fast. The time at our level is so short. The amount of practices you get is so few before the first game. To decide to be great at that point, it's too late. So I think our guys will handle the off season and really just, buy into it more than we've ever seen.
Well, thank you, Coach. Congratulations on your first season. I know you probably wanted a little bit more, but it was still a very successful season, and I was so lucky and blessed to get a front row seat to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for everything all year.
Well, this will do it for our season of Under Center as the Tigers finish 4-6, 2-4 in the Mid-South Conference. Thank you guys for tuning in to Under Center with Jake Russell.